Hey, what it is, what it ain't. This your boy Lil Duwatt, and you are now tuned in to the Mercenary Podcast. Hey, I hope everybody having a great day. Today is Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon to anybody who's watching or wherever you are. We got a lot of news to get into, man. A lot of stuff going on in the NBA. We got some breaking news that we got to get into involving Kawhi Leonard. But before we get into anything, I got to start out by thanking my sponsor for this show. Our sponsor in life, period, God. Because without him, none of this would be possible. I wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be able to do the stuff that we doing, talking about the stuff that we doing. So shout out to the big G.O.D. as always. Like, shout out to God, man. Getting a nigga through, man, to get us through. Hey, we got a lot to talk about, bro. We got breaking news. This just came in. Kawhi Leonard. The NBA has now basically 2011 LA Lakers Chris Paul denied this trade of Kawhi Leonard going to the Toronto Raptors until after the NBA investigation. This is breaking news on the ESPN. I literally just got this to my phone. I really had to check to see if this was real, but it was on the ESPN on YouTube. I was like, whoa, this crazy, because I was like, dang, didn't he just, can y'all really do that when he just already got traded like a week or two ago? Like that's kind of late, ain't it? But hey, so yeah, if in case y'all didn't know, Kawhi Leonard before last season, him and the Los Angeles Clippers had a couple different scandals, kind of, if you want to call it that, going on. He had an unknown, he was making an unknown amount of money, or it is unknown, he was making millions of dollars for an endorsement that's supposedly not a real brand or a real endorsement, and he was making money off of it. And it was supposed, the NBA is trying to investigate that, but investigate not just him, but investigate the Clippers as well. They had, like, I can't really, I don't want to say exactly because I can't think of it at the time, as of right now, because this is all fresh to me right now. But the Clippers are involved in this as well. And the NBA, they are deep diving into an investigation on them. And they basically said to this, you going to Toronto right now until we figure some shit out. And I'm like, the first thing that come to my mind with this is like, why y'all just not doing this? Like, this been in rotation. He was finna get traded. You knew he wasn't finna get no contract extension. Wasn't nobody even really thinking about it. Like, people was thinking about it like, yeah, the Clippers gonna probably get suspended maybe at some point during the season. Gonna lose money or financial because the NBA ain't making a big deal about it. And I'm just trying to get I'm not saying that this is not a big deal. It's just the timing of this is kind of weird from the NBA. And I feel like this was something that they could have made, like, if they really wanted to put their foot down, they could have put their foot down on this, like, either immediately after the season ended, to like right after the Knicks won a championship, until like a couple days after that, and then move forward with this. But to kind of do this after the draft, after at the start of free agency, way after he get traded, that was just like, I don't know, that was just weird to me. But what does it mean for Kawhi Leonard? I don't know. Obviously, he's not gonna play with the Clippers. Even if they do investigate this and find anything that there's some kind of wrongdoing or whatever the NBA is looking for, I still feel like if that's the case, you just can still the trade can go through, and he just will be suspended for amount of games in Toronto. And it's not like you said, and then you could, you know, then you can find the Steve Ballmer and the Clippers whatever a significant amount of money that you need to find them, whatever amount of draft picks that you need to take away, which is kind of already mostly gone outside of this year with having the 5th overall pick and Keaton Wagler. But it's just, it's I don't get it. Chick-fil-A be fat. But hey, it's just like, it don't make sense. Cause it's like, I'm not saying like, I'm not saying that I'm on either side. It's just like, I'm just trying to understand why wait until after all of these transactions done started and to do this when you could have put your foot on the brakes way before that. That's just to me, I'm just not understanding that. If anybody can explain that a little better in the comments, put it in the comments, and we can have a real talk about that, because that's just something I don't understand. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. But for whatever reason, I ain't gonna say for whatever reason, we know the reason, but as of right now, Kawhi Leonard's likely gonna sit out regardless, and it all depends on how long this investigation is gonna take for them to just abruptly do this. I'm assuming they finna have to try to take their time and then try to come out with something, maybe way before training camp, maybe. Best case scenario, they can do that. And then Kawhi, I don't know what that means if he does get suspended, and if they do find something wrong, does he get away from the team? It's just a weird situation. It's just the timing just throws everything off. It feels rushed, or not even rushed. I'm sorry, the opposite of rushed. It just feels delayed. It feels real delayed. Like that's just, I don't know. It's just off. It's just off. But from a Kawhi Leonard standpoint, I'm not sure. Well, he's obviously going to sit out and miss a game. So for him, that might be, best thing option, to rest his knees and rest his body and get ready for whenever he's supposed to come in. That might be an advantage for him. But from a Clippers standpoint, this is significant, because it possibly could mean, like, you could, outside of Keegan Waggler, excuse me for saying his name if I'm saying mispronouncing his name. I'm from Memphis. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. We got that little southern twang. I can't say certain words the way I want to. I apologize. It's just in me. But outside of him, I don't really see like a future, a way for them to build that organization. And you just got a new stadium. And Kawhi Leonard really already out of the door. He's already on the way out. You build around that one piece, but if this turns out to be some kind of scandal and whatever is going on, that's significant for the Clippers' present and future, because you're in the beginning of a rebuild, and you're not going to be able to rebuild you're not going to be able to stack your roster with young talent, because you're probably, whatever draft picks that you are going to have left, is going to probably be taken away probably by the NBA, and the fine, and it's going to be probably a significant fine, which that's probably the latter. But from the way the NBA is structured now, it's like, it's going to be really hard to you're probably never going to, it's going to be really hard to see teams three-peat, because it's going to be, you only have this much allowed. Like, basically the NBA basically put on this new collective bargaining agreement on the new CBA, they basically gave everybody like an allowance on the budget. Obviously these are billionaires, but wouldn't it being a cap space, and now they have this second apron thing, even though the players are going to get still gonna get significant, at least superstar max players, they're gonna get a significant amount of money. It's still to me, it's headed toward a place where the NBA isn't going to be structured to where you can build your teams around superstar players, like multiple superstar players, is the point I'm trying to get to. And for the Clippers standpoint, to tie this all together, you only got right now, and you got lucky to get the 5th pick, because after that Paul George trade, or the Paul George trade, who we all know the history that led Oklahoma City to getting SGA and everybody else that's on their championship team right now. And you've got this one pick in the 5th pick, and oh, by the way, Oklahoma City had the 12th pick and drafted who I thought they was going to draft in Mara, the center out of Michigan. That's a huge pick for them. They needed another big body. That's just a little pat on the back for me. Pat on the back for me. But a good move for them. But back to what I was saying. Sorry, y'all. I talk a little fast. I be thinking of here. But for the Clippers standpoint, that's significant because it's going to be hard for you to build your team up, especially with having like a limited cap space. You would think they would have a good portion, a good amount of money with Kawhi Leonard possibly being off the books. As of right now, he's not, since they are basically delaying the trade or stalling the trade. He's technically still on their books. And because for them to abruptly, my whole way of thinking is, as of right now, for them to abruptly stop this, and stop the process of whatever's going on with the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard so late into the process, or I guess if you want to say early by free agency standpoint, it has to be something significant should come from this. Because if not, then it just feels like you just played around with this and just wanted to do this. And it's gonna look kind of, I'm bad on the NBA. It's gonna be like, well, why you kind of wait so long to get to this? It's gonna look bad on both sides, because you're gonna be like, all right, even if they did do something wrong, you kind of let this go on for a long time. Like, you knew about this last offseason. You could have investigated this last offseason. And if you're still investigating this and you're not finding something wrong, but then you're trying to stop the trade, or you're pausing it as of right now, that's still a bad look on the NBA as well, because it's like, why so late in the process? So that's why I say, if they're doing it that way, it has to be something significant. And if it is something significant, the Clippers is in that new stadium, they're not going to have a good team for a little while. A little while. Because some good lemonade, y'all. Go get that lemonade for Chick-fil-A. Best thing going. But just to wrap all this up, it's interesting to me how this is. It's interesting. I'm interested to see how this is going to play out, because I hope they don't drag this into the season. I don't think they will. I think we're probably going to drag this maybe into next month, maybe into training camp. I don't think it'll be later into training camp. I think maybe we'll find out the developments of this more likely in the next 2-3 weeks. Could be sooner. Hopefully it's a little sooner, and then we can have some more clarity on what's going on. But as of right now, it just makes everything just look clunky. It just looks real clunky on both sides. And we'll see, man. The NBA is gonna be a really good season. We got a really good batch of rookies coming into the league right now. Darren Peterson, and the number 2 overall pick out of Kansas, the guard out of Kansas, playing for now the Utah Jazz, has been looking special. He has been looking special. And there's been this debate, but obviously everybody knows the debate between him and AJ DeBonsa, and that's gonna forever be a linked debate, whether who should have won number 1. A lot of people say talent-wise, Darren Peterson should have been number 1 pick. A lot of people, like me, said, I'm not gonna lie, I'm on that side too, that felt like AJ DeBonsa should be the number 1 overall pick, because for one, I feel like y'all underrating AJ DeBonsa, just speaking personally for myself a little bit, and I feel like maybe we could be wrong, but I do feel like both players are going to be phenomenal. I don't think it's just this huge gap the way that people are saying. I really think if Darren Peterson does turn out to be what people are saying, I feel like if it's him here and you say AJ DeBonsa here, that's still, to me, good, worthy number 1 overall pick, especially for the roster that the Wizards have constructed. Having Trae Young, having AJ DeBonsa, having Anthony Davis, have Alex Sarr, having trading for DeAndre Ayton. I like where they're going. They're trying to add size, and even though Darren Peterson is a phenomenal talent, and I do think having him and Trae Young, they'll still be lacking something right there in that size. And I think that AJ DeBonsa, not just being 6'9", he's also a baller. I really think AJ DeBonsa could be an all-star. He's going to be an all-star caliber player. Emerging on superstar caliber player. We'll see. But if there's any indications on what Darren Peterson is right now, I know it's summer league and it's early, but he looks good. He looks good. He's smooth. It's like when you watch him play and you watch, it looks effortless. Almost like from an offensive standpoint, it reminds me of Kevin Durant. It reminds me of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It reminds me of, everybody says Kobe. I don't see Kobe. That's my GOAT, my personal GOAT. I don't see Kobe. But I will say it reminds me of Kyrie Irving, not from a handles twitchy standpoint, but from I can get anywhere where I want to on the floor and I'm pulling up standpoint. And I know he says, Darren Peterson says he wants to play point guard. I don't really see that. Maybe he could develop it, but as of now, he's a below average, I would say, passer as of right now. He's a decent rebounder, but offensively he can do whatever. I feel like he continues to get better. And he reaches his ceiling. He looks like he's gonna be an easy 25 plus point, 26 plus point per game type of scorer. I'm interested in seeing how his game rounds out. I want to see how his game rounds out, because if he does become a better passer, he's going to be a special player, franchise caliber player. Real talk. But that's the same. I feel like AJ DeBonsa will as well. I will. I really do. I think AJ DeBonsa is also a guy that look like you might not see it right now. Immediately, you'll see flash. I expect to see flashes from AJ DeBonsa this year. His game offensively he ain't no slack. Like, he may not be as a easy scorer the way that Darren Peterson is, but that's rare. Anybody like Darren Peterson just has he seems like he has a generational type of gift for scoring and a mindset for putting the ball in the basket. AJ DeBonsa is a scorer. He can shoot off the dribble. He can also pull up and do he can do everything that that Darren Peterson can do, and he's also taller. But I think Darren Peterson is just, like we said with Kyrie, maybe just a little bit more of that twitchiness and has a little bit more silky smooth shot where he can kind of get it from anywhere. I think that AJ DeBonsa is more of he reminds me of I would say, and this is gonna sound like a bad comparison. Not a bad comparison, because he's a Hall of Famer. But I think his ceiling could be Carmelo Anthony. I think his floor could be Andrew Wiggins. Because I think AJ DeBonsa is a better defensive player than Darren Peterson. I think he's a better rebounder. I think he's a little bit better passer. I think he can do a little bit better of everything than Darren Peterson. I think Darren Peterson is just such a proficient scorer already that it could kind of take away from Darren Peterson's deficiencies. That's why I say AJ DeBonsa number 1 and Darren Peterson number 2. Even if Darren Peterson reaches his ceiling, yes, I feel like his ceiling can be a little higher. I can admit that. But as of right now, I think AJ DeBonsa, even though he'll show flashes, I think he could have a claim to be on a more complete player. Because I think he could be a guy that averages 25 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shoots 50% from the field, 38% from the 3, 88% from the free throw line. And maybe even better. I really do. We got a good season. It's a good season. We got a good season on our hands. Speaking of the draft, like Cameron Boozer playing for my Memphis Grizzlies. Even though my favorite team is the Los Angeles Lakers, and we'll get into them at some point. We will get into them. Memphis being my hometown, where my heart is. Having Cam Boozer, obviously everybody watched Cam Boozer back when he was playing at Duke last year, National Player of the Year. I think he may be the most slept on player, and that's what's crazy because as of right now, I think out of the 3 or the 4 that was drafted, the top 4 that were drafted, including Caleb Wilson, who was drafted to Chicago right behind Cam Boozer, I think Cam Boozer could probably have a higher claim to probably winning Rookie of the Year than people think. While I do think AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson possibly could be on better teams than the Grizzlies next year, I think his individual play could elevate this very young rebuilding Grizzlies team. Excuse me. And you know how to... He's a complete player. I think the only thing about Cam Boozer, like he has an inside game. He can do a little bit of everything. He can play inside. He's an excellent rebounder. He plays defense well. He can move his feet. He ain't no sloppy big guy. He's about 6'9", 6'10". He's kind of a little bit undersized for the power forward position, but he's a big guy that knows how to get a position. He knows how to put his chest into somebody's chest and get into the paint. He know how to play big boy ball. And for a young guy, that's a rare trait to have. And I think that's a winning trait to have. That's a winning trait, real talk. That's a winning trait to have. I really think Cam Boozer can come in the season and surprise a lot of people and average about 20 and 10. I really believe that. He got a 3-point shot. Is it the best? No. Can he shoot it? Yes. Leave him open? Yes. He gonna drain it. Don't do that. Don't do that. That man, that young man, he got potential. He's another guy I believe is gonna be, when we look down the line in the next 5 years, we're gonna be like, that was a good pick. That was a really good pick. That was a really good pick. Excuse me. I spit out on my lip and stuff. Yeah, excuse me. The NBA, it's getting good, bro. It's getting good. We got Brad Stevens coming finally coming to the podium and basically finally speaking and letting us all know what he feels about trading Jaylen Brown. In case anybody who's not into the sports and don't know, Jaylen Brown, former NBA Finals MVP, former champion with the Boston Celtics, All-Star MVP candidate this year, traded from the Boston Celtics to the division rival Philadelphia 76ers for a 36-year-old Paul George. And that's it. And I think a draft pick. I think it's a draft pick. That's it. And he goes on to say that he felt like his reasoning for doing what he did, and you know these general managers, these guys, they politic just as much as the politicians do in daily life in our government. They no different from Republicans to Democrats, these general managers in these sports leagues. They never gonna tell you what they say behind the closed doors. Unless you Joe Shane and the New York Giants and you say whatever on Hard Knocks and look like a damn fool the next year. Teams look at Joe Shane and say, no, we ain't doing that. And Brad Stevens basically saying that, which logistically speaking, he's not wrong. if you look at it on his face for what he was saying, he had to trade Jaylen Brown because of they were gonna have basically Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were gonna take up too much of the cap, and they weren't gonna be able to build their team around two guys who were gonna be possibly making $200-300 million contracts apiece. $300 million contract guys. And I get that. From a team building standpoint, from a management standpoint, I can say that. I can get that. I still feel like there's ways you can build around that. But even with that being said, like, cause I constantly go in on how there's a new era of the NBA. And I just said that earlier into this podcast. This is a new era of the NBA. And so what Brad Stevens is doing, I understand from that standpoint. I get it. It's gonna be hard. That second apron is, it's not a joke. It ain't no joke. I get it. From that standpoint, I get it. And you won a ring, you win the 2 finals. These guys, you've been on 5 or 6 conference championships games, Eastern Conference Championship games. I get it. But I'm not buying, like, I just don't buy the fact that that's, when you trade that man and you trade that man for what you trading this man for, and to the team that you traded him to, and you didn't even communicate with them about why you're doing this, and making it seem like he's a bad guy because for whatever reason you want to make it seem like he's the bad guy, because yes, should Jaylen Brown have said certain things? No. Jaylen Brown could have been, maybe a little bit more quieter and not saying certain things, and maybe not saying certain things out loud on a podcast or whatever. I understand that, but that's still, he ain't no bad dude because he got an opinion. We all got opinions. Opinions are like assholes. We all got one. That don't justify trading this man for, and I understand, like I get it, I understand. They all, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if I'm not mistaken, would probably have taken up about 48% of their cap space, which could have probably in the near future doubled to maybe 60 to 70% of the cap space. And then now you're gonna have a bunch of mid-level exception players built around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and you weren't gonna have any assets to do that. Okay, that's cool. But this, for me, I get it. What I don't get is, how do you not see that this team, how do you not say that this team can't, he still had 3 years left on his deal. If you want to do this 2 years from now, you could have. When he was about to be a last year in his deal and they haven't won a championship and you felt like we weren't closer, and we're like, all right, we're going to go and try to get it. We're going to go ahead and get ahead of this before his final year and just go and try to trade him now. But you did it so sloppily. And you added this man's name to trade rumors to try to go get Giannis, who, by the way, Giannis is probably going to take up more of the cap space than Jaylen Brown was. So whatever logistically, what you're saying may be right, but it still doesn't sound right. And by the way, Paul George, I can say you can say what you want to say on the basketball point. Paul George is a really good player, but he's very injury prone, and he's also 36, and he's also making $54 million, and that's what you traded for. Now, in hindsight, maybe Brad Stevens sees something that we all don't see. Maybe Brad Stevens wants Paul George to try to play at least good for a year and then try to trade Paul George for a piece I don't know who that would be, but maybe that's what he's playing, the long game. I don't know, maybe. Just seeing in hindsight, maybe that's what that is. But when you look at it on his face, it doesn't look good. And you played your hand so sloppily, and this was so... They could have afforded to drag this out because that's still a playoff team. That team can still probably make it to an Eastern Conference Finals with Jaylen Brown. Now, do you want to go into the season? What I feel like when we get to the meat and potatoes of all this, maybe he's not going to say this out loud, but I feel like he didn't want to go into the season with knowing that he basically favors Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum doesn't talk. And he didn't want to go to the season with Jaylen Brown feeling like he's the number one, even though what he did last year mandates that he could be a number one, and he didn't want to have that confrontation between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and who was the number one. And Brad Stevens did not want that on his team. He didn't. Now, if you just say that, this makes this trade a little bit more acceptable. A little bit more acceptable. A little bit more understandable. And not just from a money standpoint, because on a money standpoint, it still doesn't look... What you're saying don't really, you know what I'm saying? Because if Paul George making $54 million, it's like, no, nah. Giannis is making about 60, 70 million. We 50 plus. What we talking about? If it's about money, you wouldn't be trying to trade for these guys. It ain't just about money. Jaylen Brown going a few days after their playoff loss and saying that this was his favorite season rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It was talked about on the sports, and I'm sure it probably rubbed Jason Tatum the wrong way. Brad Stevens probably felt that. He probably peeped that. And because he already favors Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum said something without saying anything at all. He didn't, when Jaylen Brown's name came up in trade talks, Jason Tatum didn't say nothing. He didn't say, that's my guy, I want him here. He didn't say nothing. Maybe that means nothing. But if you real, that mean a little bit. That mean a little bit. Yeah, you can say I'm minding my business, but why you minding your business and this your second best player on the team? It's a team. It's a team. Unless you feel like he don't want to be part of the team. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing to say at all. And then Brad Stevens does the stuff that he does. Because a lot of this, other than logistically, other than financially, I guess, because they really don't, it don't make sense. That's the only thing I can think of. I hate to sound messy, TMZ, drama-ish, Lifetime drama-ish, but that's what's really going on. I'm just being honest. That's just what it looked like. We'll see. We'll see. Philadelphia 76ers, like I previously reported, are in pursuit of LeBron James. If you haven't noticed, LeBron James is also a free agency. Yet he is playing yet another year, which I kind of predicted. He's playing in his 24th season. Probably dedicating this year to Kobe. Then he's probably going to peace out, probably. He could probably play another 2 more years. But he's also decided to let the Lakers know that he's not going to be back, and that his 8-year run is done, and he has a few teams that are interested in, that he's interested in, and probably a few more teams that is interested in him. And he's also said that he is not driven by a money decision, because he's basically a billionaire. But this is more of a happiness decision. Whatever that means. Does happiness mean I'm going home? Or does happiness mean I want to get a championship and do it my way? And the Philadelphia 76ers are one of those teams that are trying to get him after acquiring the aforementioned Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics. I already told y'all where I want to see LeBron go. And I told y'all Philly my number one team. Bob Myers. He's basically the president of Harris Sports and this sports company that the owner has of the 76ers. And he basically, on a podcast with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul, LeBron's number one agent, number one guy, basically gave his pitch to why LeBron should come to the 76ers and saying if it's about winning a championship, if happiness commutes to winning a championship, he should go to Philadelphia. I agree. This might be the best team Joel Embiid plays on. Everybody keeps saying, well, Joel may not be healthy. Joel this, Joel that. I think people are kind of, and then now I hear this little, certain analysts are throwing out this little monkey wrench. The chemistry may not be together. Obviously, the chemistry ain't gonna be together. There's possibly two huge new players coming in that are known to be superstars and are known to be, at least on the basketball court, unselfish. I don't think the chemistry is going to be an issue. I think basketball-wise it will. To kind of see if LeBron does go to Philadelphia, who's going to be the primary ball handler. I think it should be LeBron. I think LeBron should be the primary ball handler and have Tyrese Maxey and/or Jaylen Brown be 1A, 1B as the primary scorers. And then you can do it like that and have the ball in Tyrese Maxey's hand, and it can work that way. He could play off Jaylen Brown. And LeBron plays like a third, plays the way he did with the Lakers, like the third best, or like a third option, but still had a ball in his hand. Because he could probably play point. Tyrese Maxey is a phenomenal basketball player. Tyrese Maxey is a really good point guard. But Tyrese Maxey, until proven wrong, he's more of a scorer. He does not have that basketball, that knack for, he could get you, he's a pretty good, he has a high basketball IQ. He has a really good basketball IQ. But LeBron's high basketball IQ, to my point, is pitched on a whole other level. And he's, even at 6'8", 240, 250, whatever his weight is right now, he's more point guard than anything. And if I'm Tyrese Maxey, I want to get off the ball. Hey, I want to get off the ball, because I'm playing with Jaylen Brown as well, who can also play on the ball and off the ball. I don't mind that. And the reason why I like that is because Joel Embiid doesn't have to do a lot. Joel Embiid just needs to have high energy, play good defense, get some rebounds, score when necessary, and be on a minutes restriction. Save his knees. He can miss some games in between. I don't think this 76ers team's record is, their final record is what this team is going to be going into the playoffs, the way almost like what the Knicks showed this year, that their record isn't what that they can be. I don't care. I don't care about that from this team. With this specific team, with LeBron James and Jaylen Brown trying to mesh in with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Anthony Simons coming off the bench. You add a couple, maybe another piece here and there, maybe another big. I think they should add another big, and hence why I say they should have Joel Embiid on a minutes restriction. You try to find, if you have enough money, to get you a capable big man Go get you another big to bring off that bench. And I think they set. Whatever LeBron does in free agency, the trickle-down effect is going to be significant. Even at 41 years old, going on 42 in December. I gotta admit, that's incredible. He's a mid-level exception, but he can play like a max player on any given night. That's incredible. That's pretty incredible. That's pretty significant. In year 24. That's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. I would say that. We'll see. We'll see. But that's it for today's podcast. I got a lot more I'm gonna get into it with y'all about. I got a lot more. We gonna get into some more boxing. I'm a huge boxing fan, but I'm not deep into my boxing bag the way I want to. But there's a couple of big fights that I want to talk to you guys about. Boots Ennis defeating Xander Zayas last weekend, or weekend before last, in the third round in an amazing TKO. And then we also have this past weekend with Abdullah Mason, the young 22-year-old lightweight champion phenom, beating Albert Green, who came in last minute notice, but was winning that fight for the first 6 rounds. But Abdullah showed he got that fight, he got that grit. 22 years old, he's gonna be the future of boxing. So there's a lot of that to come ahead, y'all. We're gonna get into that. I just want to tease y'all with it, because if y'all got any boxing fans, anybody that has any boxing knowledge, I'm always down to talk boxing. I'm always down to listen and hear from anybody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to them boxing, because I am a fan of that sweet science. And I'm a fan of, mama said knock you out. Yeah, beat that ass. And that's what boxing represent. So with that saying, before we get out of here, I want to thank my sponsor for this show. As always, I gotta give thanks to my sponsor at the beginning and end of every podcast, and that is the big God, because without him, none of this would be possible. I wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be here, and we would not be talking about the things that we are talking about, doing the things we are doing. Breathing air, we breathing. So anytime we give thanks, we give thanks to God. Speaking of giving thanks, I want to give thanks to y'all. Anybody who's been watching, anybody been staying down, you know what's going on. You know what the motto is. We grinding for show. Stay tuned. I'm gonna keep at it, man. This ain't it. We keep going up. We only going up from here, but we grinding for show. Always the motto. We grinding for show. As always, to any new subscribers, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to my channel right down there. Hit the link below, LILDUWATT. Show me some love. Like, comment. You can leave me a comments. Anything you feel like I could do better. Any topics that you want me to talk about. Any debates you want to have with me. Hey, I'm down for whatever. I'm always down to have a good, positive talk. I'm always down to be a listening ear for constructive criticism, because at the end of the day, all I want to do is get here, and I want everybody else to get there with me. And I want to do it in cohesion. I want to do it in unity, because this is what this world needs these days, is unity. And that's something that we do not have a lot of. We're gonna make strides, though. We're gonna make strides. With that being said, let me get up out of here. My name is Duwatt. This is the Mercenary Podcast. Hey, y'all have a great day. I'm gonna get up with y'all. Love y'all. Peace.